Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel, and we're gonna have some fighting words. But before we go any further, I need for you to like this video and also please subscribe to my channel. So in this video, I just want to pose a question. What happens if Amir Khan wins and he actually beats Kell Brooke in their upcoming bout? Well, I know what a lot of you are gonna say. Amir Khan's over the hill, and you might just ride off into the sunset. Possibly. However, looking at the landscape lately, we see a lot of fighters fighting well past, their prime, well into their 40s. Your Manny Pacquiao's, your Floyd Mayweather's. You look at Triple G, he's getting older. A lot of these guys are reaching that age. So I don't see any reason why Amir Khan wouldn't keep going, especially if he wins in a spectacular fashion. I don't see any reason why he would stop. I don't see any reason why he would feel the need to hang it up or anything like that. I don't feel like Kell Brooke would be his blaze of glory. I'll say it like that. I don't think it's... do I think it's going to be a money fight? Absolutely. Well, do I think it's going to be? It is a money fight. But do I think it's a blaze of glory? Well, no, not really. Kell Brooke is on the downslide, and, Amir Khan's on the downslide, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot if you beat Kell Brooke, other than the, I guess, answer that age-old question, who's the best in the UK, between the two of them. Not to mention, this rivalry, this thing that they had has been going on for pretty much a decade. So it'll get that off of you, who's better of the two, pride of Britain, yes. But in terms of, will it satisfy his thirst and be like, okay, I did what I everything I set out to do in this sport, and I beat Kell Brooke. I don't really think it's that. I think Kell Brooke is a personal thing for Amir Khan. It's like, yeah, by the way, I beat up Kell Brooke. I just think it's a personal thing. I don't foresee Kell Brooke being Everest to Amir Khan. I don't think he looks at Kell Brooke like Everest. I just think he sees Kell Brooke as a thorn who's been in his side for about a decade, and he's tired of it. That's what I see. So could Amir Khan fight well past if he wins against Kell Brooke, and especially if he wins in spectacular fashion? Absolutely. I definitely 150% believe that he would definitely continue to fight on. And I think he would use his name, use the fact that he beat Kell Brooke. It's still saying something if he beat Kell Brooke, especially if he beat him in a certain way. Like, if he were to knock Kell Brooke out, nobody's ever done that. If he were to knock Kell Brooke out, my goodness, Amir Khan's stock is going to go way high. It's the same thing as like Sean Porter. Yeah, people have beaten Sean Porter in the past, but it's the way that Bud Crawford beat Sean Porter that made us look at Bud Crawford in a new light. And it would be the same thing if Amir Khan were to knock out Kell Brooke. I do think that's highly unlikely, but anything is possible. And he does have some pretty fast hands, and he can let them go. So you never know. Now, the question is, let's just say he does beat Kell Brooke, and he does beat him, in a spectacular fashion. Well, who next? Well, I suppose he could stay in the UK. Conor Benn said that he wanted the winner of Kell Brooke and Amir Khan. So there you go. You would get a fresh young lion. I don't necessarily know if that's like the way to go. However, I think there would be some advantages over Conor Benn. One would be that Amir Khan's a better thinker. Amir Khan is a much better boxer. Amir Khan has a whole lot more experience against better opposition. So, could he beat Conor Benn? Yeah, he could definitely beat Conor Benn. And yeah, Amir Khan's been down, but Conor Benn has been down just as many times. The only difference is he doesn't stay down. But he's been down, and he can go down. He's not some impervious, indestructible force that's coming at you. No, it's funny, like father, like son. He fights exactly like his dad in that sense, where it's just all fire and it's just all coming at you at one time. And, he oversteps like his dad. Like, there's a lot of similarities to his dad. He's heavy on his front foot, things like that. Now, you get a guy as skilled and as technical as Amir Khan, with somebody like that, I think Amir Khan could take Conor Benn to school. The only question is, I don't know how many Conor Benn punches could Amir Khan take. I do know that Conor Benn could take a lot more Amir Khan punches. I'll probably say that. And I can foresee Conor Benn getting up if he were to get dropped. And like I said, he's not impervious. He has gotten dropped before, not to mention he's coming from a smaller weight class. So I would also give Amir Khan the size advantage. So that I definitely think it'll be interesting. Another possibility is he could come back over here to the U.S. and who knows? You know, you still have Keith Thurman. You know, because by the time they fight, Keith Thurman and Barrios, they would either be getting ready to fight or have already fought by that time. So I don't see any reason why not. I mean, Keith Thurman, in my opinion, he still needs to get his feet wet a little bit more anyway. When you're talking about who you're stepping in the ring with, and he's talking about stepping in the ring with Barrios, he still needs to get his feet wet with somebody else before he starts talking about, I want Bud Crawford and I want, you know, Earl Spence or even Ugas. I mean, at this point, I just think he needs to get his feet wet. And I personally think that if he were to step in there with Amir Khan, the overall threat wouldn't be as great, you know. But again, I think they both have the ability to starch each other. In a boxing match, Thurman isn't going to do too much against Amir Khan. However, Thurman hits really hard. Now, I know many people are going to say, like you always like to say in the comments, well, who has Keith Thurman knocked out in the last 5-6 years? That's true. But just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean that he can't do it. You know, and there's a lot of things that's happened in his life. He's gotten married, he's had kids. I mean, there's a whole lot of factors that play on your mind as your life on the outside changes. So, and yes, that does translate when you are in the ring. So, that's still an interesting fight. It's still an interesting fight. There are definitely some opportunities. I mean, you got the young guns. I don't necessarily know if he wants to go, you know, taking on a Jaron Ennis. I think that would be, you know, career suicide, to be honest with you. But there are some options, you know, where he could go. And not to mention, he's still a huge name. He's Amir Khan. So who wouldn't want to fight him in terms of a payday? Who wouldn't want to fight him in terms of, you know, pay-per-view numbers? Who wouldn't want to fight him in terms of getting, you know, recognition? Who wouldn't want to fight him to have that name on their resume? It's Amir Khan. So I don't think it's going to be hard for Amir Khan to get a fight, especially if, like I said, he beats Kell Brooke in a tremendous fashion. I don't foresee it's going to be hard for him to get a fight. In fact, I think a lot of people will be calling him out. I don't think he'll have to actually do the call-outs. And I don't think it'll just be young guns calling him out. I think it'll be the old dogs calling him out as well. So, I don't know. I honestly think he has some options. Win, lose, or draw, he's Amir Khan. He's going to have options, period. The guy's always going to have a name. He has a very huge fan base. And if we go overseas, forget it. It's twice that size. But if he wins, like via knockout round 3, oh my goodness, forget it. The dude is like overnight, he's a rock star again. Overnight, Amir Khan becomes a rock star again, and he's just gonna ride that wave again. And just, you know, and he would have his, for the most part, he would have his way with who, you know, he can pick and choose. I mean, it's Amir Khan. He can pick and choose right now. But if he has a big knockout under his belt of Kell Brooke, he could definitely pick and choose. And I don't foresee too many people telling him no. And those are my thoughts. I'm curious to know what you think. Drop comments down below. You know the routine. What do you think is going to happen if Amir Khan wins by dramatic knockout?